What's up, everybody? Welcome to the CanesInSight Daily Podcast, powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. It is Wednesday, my favorite day of the week. You know what that means. We are here with Mike Ryan himself in that poppin' blue long sleeve, ready to rock and roll, talk about the game this weekend, some lingering Syracuse thoughts, some college football playoff thoughts. A lot of thoughts come from this side of the table. So let's start getting them out there. How are we feeling?
I'm good. I'm reading all sorts of conspiracy theories as to why our lines are falling right before the kickoff. People on social media have me convinced they're rigging games out here in these streets. And I think we got good news in the CFP yesterday, so I'd like to get into it. I haven't had enough opportunities to get my shots up when it comes to the Miami Hurricanes. Another reason why I'm so grateful to have this outlet at CanesInSight. Missed everybody. Pete, hop in.
Hey, now.
Let me just give you guys credit, and I'm really excited to hear that there's going to be a Jack McClinton show because I love Peter on basketball. He's as plugged in as anybody is in these college basketball streets out here in Coral Gables. You guys are knocking it out the park with the content. And after that SMU lost, I know a lot of people just kind of punted on content for a little bit, but I feel like we did what was necessary, and I can see momentum really gaining behind CanesInSight. You guys have been there when the news breaks almost immediately as news is breaking. So kudos to you guys. Great content team over here at CanesInSight. Like and subscribe.
I appreciate you. Look, you're part of that team, and this is a big part of it, man. Bringing some national perspective here. We like using your name. Depending on what you say, we say either national writer, Golden Cane.
There we go.
You know, whatever, or just plain old Mike Ryan. Depends what take you are making when we set up our clickbait. But I want to, you weren't going to start here, but let's start here. This conspiracy, let's get to it because it was new to me. So I'm kind of learning about it as you are. So lines have been dropping very fast before certain Miami games. Pulling up right here. Miami, Georgia Tech, of course, the famous kneel down game, the blown fumble call. Spread dropped from minus 21. Man, we were minus 21.5 point favorites in that game. Jeez Louise.
I had no business ever being that.
To minus 19. SMU this year, I remember this when it happened, minus 13 to minus 10. Virginia Tech last year, which we won, dropped very quickly right before kickoff. No injuries. Although SMU, maybe there were some injuries, but I guess they kind of already knew from the day before. No weather, no lineup changes. I'm just taking this all off a tweet.
There was some weather in Dallas, but it's all circumstantial, and a lot of the games that are being highlighted are with the same crew chief. Now, keep in mind, we don't really know officiating assignments all that early. I guess you can be super plugged in and know, but that's also a reason for line movement. And this one crew chief in particular, was it Jerry Magallanes?
Yeah, so I'm taking this all from our guy Omar 345.
Seems pretty well thought out. And trust me, as someone that bet those games and was worried about Miami's prospects, I can confirm every single one of those games dropped right before kickoff. This is pretty well researched.
So I did some research on the ref. So his name is Jerry Magallanes. Magallanes. I looked it up. The name comes from Florence, originally the capital of Tuscany.
Great place.
Could we be talking about some La Cosa Nostra situation going on with Jerry Magallanes?
What are the first four letters in Magallanes?
What?
That's right. Open up your third eye. No. Look, it's all circumstantial. Like Miami still had an opportunity to win that game. Yeah, it's always a huge red flag when sharp money comes in. That's when there's a flood of money by people in the know that are essentially moving the line. You can't really read too much into lines. I know a lot of people like to use in the CFP argument, well, who would be favored if these two teams played? That's not necessarily always indicative of who the better team is supposed to be. Lines are designed to get 50-50 action because the house always wins if you get something close to that. And usually line adjustments are to either encourage more 50-50 movement, or Vegas, the odds makers, realize there is something afoot here that requires such a pivot. You're seeing that a little bit right now with Ole Miss and Florida. That line has moved a lot. There's a lot of chatter about who will be available to Florida. So people got in early. But it does seem to be happening a lot. I mean, I am a volume better when it comes to college football, and maybe I'm personalizing it, but it does seem to happen to Miami. That being said, It does seem to happen to Miami more than it happens to anybody else, is the point that I'm trying to make. But that being said, it may affect the spread, but these are all games that Miami had opportunities to win. I also think excluded in that the Louisville line dropped down a little bit too, but Carson Beck threw 4 interceptions in that game, and Louisville made incredible plays. It's the loser's lament, right? That being said, if I tell you 5 years from now that game in SMU was rigged, that's what it looks like, folks. I mean, multiple receivers being tackled in the middle of the play and it not even being a discussion point. The unsportsmanlike. Miami gave them opportunities to make those calls. It was curious that flags were picked up when SMU made plays that usually come down to discipline. But here we are, and that's behind us. I will be remembering the name of the official, and I will have a chill go down my spine if I see the lines move beforehand. I don't want to dismiss it because that's pretty well researched and very curious, especially with the same head official. Miami fans have a persecution complex, and I think it's earned when it comes to treatment from the officials and NCAA and the media, so much so that we develop a callous. And I don't think the officiating when it comes to that SMU loss in particular was something that even the Miami fan base wanted to tout, because they themselves are sick of hearing about them being babies when it comes to the officials. But Ruben Bain's getting held every play. The gulf in penalties being called on Miami and their opponents this year is worth scrutinizing, I think. You can have two perspectives on it. Miami needs to clean that up, and that gulf will shrink, and we can just say...
Mike, enough about the gulf, man.
The Gulf of America. There's a Gulf of America-sized gulf right now between Miami and its opponents when it comes to penalties being called in there. You can say that Miami will ascend to the mean. That being said, it was a very curious... series of tweets over there, and it had me thinking in ways that kind of confirmed suspicions.
Yeah, I could tell you this, and this is true. I was joking earlier, but this is all true. So, I know a few coaches in the SEC that have coached at these high levels and have been around this type of win at all costs football, let's say. And they said that Nick Saban, when he was the coach of Alabama, spent an inordinate amount of time getting to know the refs, getting to know who the refs were, working the refs. I'm not talking about during the game. I'm talking about like off season. Like Saban knew everything about the refs and tried to work them as much as he could. And that they would call play, like they would do things differently depending on what who the refs were. Like I was shocked hearing people that were in it talk about it, because I thought that was like a fan thing.
No,
but the coaches involved were so hyper conscious on who the refs were and who had the relationships with the refs that it made me think, oh, maybe this is a bigger issue than I thought. So I'm just putting that out there because I didn't think it was a real thing until talking to these people. They didn't say like this ref's on the take or anything like that, but it was, you got to work these guys at all times because they ultimately will call the game the way they want to call it. And again, using their words, these are guys that won a lot of championships at the SEC level. You can guess probably where they went. And they said, when they want to throw a flag, they'll do it, and they'll do it at the exact right or wrong time, depending what they're trying to do.
I clearly think that we do a bad job of working the officials, and I think it comes down to like a toughness mantra here. Malachi Toney has had plenty of opportunities to complain to the refs and basically put a little seed in there for the next time he gets held, and he refuses to do it.
Gabos.
There was the triple coverage interception. Again, Carson Beck throwing in a triple coverage. Why are you doing that? But he clearly gets interfered with. He gets tugged from behind, doesn't sell it. In SMU, the illegal man downfield play, Malachi Toney gets taken out, speared, doesn't say anything to the refs. I'm kind of wondering as to whether or not the team is it's drilled into them. Don't complain to the refs. That's not what we do, but it's part of the game. The officials are human. They are susceptible to that kind of influence, certainly when it's coming from the likes of Nick Saban. And I do think that we should do a hell of a lot better job politicking the officials, being on their ass. What happened in SMU with the PA system drowning out our plays and our offense, not even being able to run tempo because they're waiting for the music to stop, that is not a halftime adjustment type of thing. Because there was a halftime adjustment, someone said something, you need to be on their ass at the very start of that. So I think that our staff, this is a criticism that you can levy against them. And I think it goes back to that whole macho approach. you gotta do it. I think that we think that it'll be held against us if we start working the officials, and that's big time college football.
I gotta say, seeing this Cleveland Guardians scandal, have you seen this?
Yeah.
So they were throwing pitches. This is Manuel Clase. This is the best closer in the league. This is not like somebody just trying to stick on a roster. This is a multi-million-dollar value arm. And this guy was throwing pitches.
Throwing out these big league show.
You like that? We're out here. Shout out to Big League Show.
On the CanesInSight show right here.
Shout out to Adrian Lorenzo. Shout out to the whole crew out here, 786 Sports Casa Cultura. But you're talking about a guy who is a star. And he was doing these things for like, what, $6,000?
Mm-hmm.
Which tells me we should start like bribing players.
I mean,
like, I know these guys don't have the money that
news?
Class A has on some of these other teams.
Yeah, you probably don't even put that out into content.
Yeah, that's wild. D.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild that you said that.
He is.
That's wild that you said that.
I said the other day he's a funny person. So
$6,000. They're paying these guys. They're paying backups hundreds of thousands of dollars. It costs $6,000 to bribe a MLB All-Star.
Let me just go on the record and say D-Money was very clearly joking. But it is food for thought. Now, I feel like such a loser. I understand if it indeed is a macho mantra that we preach. I get it. I hate being official guy, but it was really bad in Dallas. Really, 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 really bad. I remember what we got nationally when, look, Mario O'Neal, and it's not a problem. It wasn't a fumble. Like, we're going to be watching film of that. We're going to be watching more film of that fumble against Georgia Tech and the non-kneel than Flutie's Hail Mary against Miami. And you kind of have to eat it because we should have knelt on the ball, but also it wasn't a fumble very clearly
at all.
And I felt like such a loser nationally for hammering that line because ultimately it's a pretty big trump card. Well, you should have knelt. You're absolutely right. That being said, it was corrupt. I'm going to stop using that being said as a crutch. Let's move on to the CFP.
Wait, hold on, real quick. I want to get this. This comment has thrown me for a loop here. It's CF Canes fan says, why does Pete look like he's in a Walmart break room? I've never been in a Walmart break room.
It does look like that.
There's art. There's elite Art Basel quality art in Walmart break rooms.
It's a top. It's a
it's that top right there?
unit.
So you've been in a Walmart break room?
Like it looks like a warehouse break room. I mean, no frills in the back, exposed concrete. That's what Walmart provides its employees when it comes to a break room: poured concrete and cement blocks.
Are you a big Walmart guy? I can't say I've been to many.
More of a Target guy.
Yeah, the Target for sure. Walmart, we don't have that many out here, do we?
No, that's we're a big metropolis.
One time I went to visit one of my friends in prison, and really my only friend in prison. I don't have multiple friends in prison, I don't believe. But
I mean,
I was wearing a white shirt, one of those.
I don't know. You might be there yourself.
You might be there yourself with that. With
that
that very clear joke that you had a couple of minutes ago.
So I was wearing a white shirt, and apparently when you wear a white shirt, it was one of those Goodfellas Target shirts, right? To Target. I was one of those. This is like in Arcadia, Florida, or somewhere in the middle of nowhere where they put these prisons. So I'm wearing the white shirt, and apparently you can't wear white shirts on visitation day because they think you're gonna do some sort of sneak out attempt because they wear white. So if you wear white, there's different schemes you could do.
Oh, I didn't know this.
So they made me go home and go change. So I had to go to Walmart in Arcadia and buy a blue shirt to wear to the visitation day. But the shirt fit phenomenal. I still wear it to this day. I wore it yesterday. So that was my last time in a Walmart. I digress.
Thank you for the anecdote. All right, CFP.
Let's talk
about this. Miami. I told you November's a long month. I mean, 1 week and we're in the playoff graphic. Incredible.
We did it.
There was a bit of a correction from folks. I do like the committee establishing Miami is the best in this conference, despite their current odds to make the ACC championship in Charlotte. I still think that there's another correction that needs to be made. Vanderbilt, hell we doing? Why is Vanderbilt ahead of Miami? What's Vanderbilt's best win, Pete? If you have to think, it's not a good win. It's Mizzou.
Oof.
It's Mizzou
without their quarterback.
Without their quarterback.
I was making sure because I was like, they didn't beat Tech. They didn't. They didn't.
All the wins that Vanderbilt built its reputation on. How many coaches of those programs have gotten fired? People thought that because they beat South Carolina, wow, things are changing in Vanderbilt. And they have. They have a good quarterback. They have a good program. But they got fat off of LSU. and South Carolina. Congratulations. You kept it tight against Texas. Cool. You also kept it tight against another school who fired their coach in Auburn. Vanderbilt's up. I don't know why Vanderbilt's ahead of Miami. Miami's got 2 top 25 wins. Vanderbilt's played 2 top 25 teams, and they've lost both games.
Yeah, kept it tight. We keep it tight. We kept it tight for 2 years.
We've been keeping it tight for 2 years.
I think we're number 1 in the country in keeping it tight.
If keeping it tight is a skill, we'd be BCS ranked number 1 on that.
Yeah, what would the keep it tight rankings be? It'd be like Miami number 1, probably Halle Berry number 2. As far as but look at this. I mean, longest active streaks. I don't know whether to share the stat or how much, if it makes us look like even more losers. I think it's actually a good stat because we spent 20 years getting completely humiliated all the time, as Pete let everybody know on that Manny Diaz reaction pod that he did, which was getting kudos all across the city of Miami. But we used to get blown out all the time. Remember that Notre Dame game? We were like, oh man, what if Philip Dorsett caught the ball? We lost by 40.
Kansas
also
State, Colin Klein game.
It also speaks to the resignation that Miami fans have to be, and I think a lot of non-SEC Big Ten schools have to resign themselves to the fact that close losses don't actually matter to Miami. Alabama got dismantled by OU 2 weeks before the CFP, and everybody, despite them having the same record as Miami, was saying Alabama's clearly the better team here. Alabama got blown out by FSU. That's not a close loss. Close losses, if you get bonus points for close losses, why doesn't that affect Miami? Utah, no business being ranked over Miami. Hopefully that figures itself out. It's again, we corrected it some, but you could also see the CFP trying to plant a seed with Miami being ranked ahead of Louisville. Now, there is some context. Pretty big injury in Isaac Brown for Louisville. That changes that team's dynamic. They lost as a 20-point favorite to Cal at home. They're only a 2.5, 3-point favorite against Clemson. That's a hugely impactful injury. Even if they survive, we'll see if that gets taken into account. But they're trying. You see what they're trying to do. You guys see what they're trying to do?
I don't. You got the vision.
Here's what they're trying to do.
Give us the vision.
They're protecting themselves in the event that Miami and Notre Dame finish with the same record, in hopes that Louisville finishes with the exact same record too. So Miami fans can point to the complaint that head-to-head doesn't matter, so they can use a head-to-head argument against Miami. But you're ranked ahead of Louisville. How is that fair?
Yeah, that was a 2000 Miami Hurricanes where we had one loss to Washington. We had defeated FSU, so we tried to use that argument against FSU, and Washington was sitting there saying we should have been in there over Miami, and it was a hard argument to counter. At that time, I remember we were saying well, your loss was later in the year. Truthfully, that was just a reminder that the 14 playoff would have solved all the problems. Now we have a 12-team playoff, and
it was weird. It was weird that games in September matter when Miami's losing them. Even way back then when it comes to national bias. But the Notre Dame media mafia has already gotten its marching orders. Well, invoke Louisville, because now Miami is not the lone outlier when it comes to head-to-head. I do find it curious that we all kind of learned this is a huge failure on a part of the national media. Not for a second. And we were looking for every way we can get into the CFP last week. Not for a second did anybody invoke, well, they take the 5 highest ranked conference champions, and there is a way that Miami can get in there if it's not an ACC team that's among the top 5. We all learned that together, I feel.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
A huge failure on the education. This is of the CFP. I feel like we kind of should have known that. For us to be dead in the water, I mean, I listen to a bunch of national podcasts. Greg McElroy barely even talked about us. He's like, Miami, they're done. And to be in the playoff the very next week speaks to a lack of education here, and also the hyperbolic nature of reacting to these things. I don't even want to have the Notre Dame conversation. Clearly, the CFP doesn't want to have the Notre Dame conversation, which is why there's this word again, gulf between the two teams right now. I'll have that conversation in 2 weeks, because for me, as always, the number one hurdle facing this team is going 1-0 every week for the next 3 weeks. D. I know you've had this game circled as an opponent and an opposing quarterback that you've been worried about.
Yeah, but real quick, just before we got the college football playoff, this show is kind of ridiculous. Every week we have a show about rankings for a playoff that's going to last until like mid-January. Like they're saying that this is not even the midpoint of the whole season if you account for the actual championship game. Yeah. So like we're doing a TV show about making a TV show, and it got me thinking, what are shows that are about making a show? And I got 3. All right. The Muppet Show.
Uh-huh.
Raw, really, because Raw, they're like making matches, but then, they fight about the matches. So it's not really like, if it was just a match, it would just be like a boxing show, right? Where you wouldn't have behind the scenes, you wouldn't have commissioners making matches. It's really a show about making a show. And then things go haywire. And then the CFP show, a show
you forgot
about
Larry
making
Sanders.
a show.
Larry Sanders show. Great one.
Show about making a show. So I don't know. I mean, spice it up a little bit, I guess. But like, to me, at the end of the day, obviously, it's for entertainment. That's why they're doing this stupid show. That's why they kept FSU out of the playoffs when FSU clearly deserved to be in the playoffs when they were left out. I understood why they didn't do it, because no one wanted to see them get smoked and destroyed with their backup quarterback.
I do think that there's a responsibility, though, to have some continuity and consistency, because they're going to do this several times and they're going to pull the rug out from a team. They were going to do it to SMU had SMU not closed the gap in that ACC championship game, where you do all the things necessary and you say, well, all we got to do is win here and we'd be ahead of Alabama. And then the BS will start from the media machine, which has already said, why doesn't the SEC get 6 teams in? We're so far behind playing in this conference. The deck is stacked against Miami when it comes to narrative, that people just accept things like, yeah, Vanderbilt should be ahead of Miami without even asking the question. And you have the biggest cable partner in the history of sports openly discussing there should be 6 of these mediocre SEC teams in there. Look, Miami has 2 losses. They're in a mid-conference that didn't exactly cover themselves in glory over the weekend. But it's still hard. Miami is a pretty decent program. We know in these games that become absolute dogfights that we're not playing against bad teams.
Well, I'll say this. Who would you say is the best team in the SEC? Pete, who would you say is the best team in the SEC?
Bama.
Who would you say, Mike?
I think right now, man, Bama's, I don't know. I'm not sold on them right now. Who I think it's going to be, or who I think it is?
Let's hear.
I think the best team top to bottom in the SEC is Texas.
Oh, you've been a Texas guy.
And they have yet to play their best game.
So I agree with you, Pete, that Alabama is playing the best right now. They are the best team. And I've just pulled up the ACC standings. Okay, so I'm pulling up the ACC standings. Close your eyes as far as Miami fans, because we're low on them.
Oh, wait. My bad. This one's an easy answer. Thank you, comment section. I had Big 12
Texas
brain.
A&M.
It's Texas A&M. Number 1 with a bullet.
Yeah, you know what? Yes, I forgot them too.
Yeah.
You probably are.
Lane Kiffin was absolutely right. Why isn't this team discussed as a number 1
Texas
team in the
A&M
nation? I am an idiot. It's Texas A&M.
Okay.
Second place might be a team that can beat Texas A&M later this season in Texas.
Could be. And look, Alabama, you put them in the mix. The reason I brought up Alabama, and I agree, Texas A&M is probably the best. Although, Pete, I wouldn't push back at Alabama as far as how well they're playing at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Georgia's figured stuff out too.
You see the bottom of these ACC rankings below the Stanford Cardinal, before Bill Belichick's Tar Heels, below Virginia Tech, below the California Golden Bears, below the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. That is going to be the Florida State Seminoles at 1-5 in the ACC. 1-5 in the ACC, and they beat the brakes out of a healthy Alabama team. It wasn't even close. They narrowed the margin to, what was it, 2 touchdowns was the final score? FSU completely annihilated them, and they were healthy. So to say that this SEC is like Nick Saban's SEC, if you're that team or that league, one of your flagship teams doesn't get the doors blown off it by FSU, which is not just a mid-ACC team. They are one of the worst ACC teams, and they completely destroyed your best team. So the idea that the SEC is here and the ACC is here, I'm not buying it.
It's not just an SEC thing. It's a Big Ten thing too. Iowa fell 1 spot after losing to Oregon. We can play Miami. Miami can play that game and has lost that game, losing on a field goal at the end a dozen times. Miami's not sliding one spot. They can lose to a ranked opponent. They could lose to the number one team in the nation. They're not sliding one spot. There are certain things that are afforded to Big Ten and SEC teams that aren't afforded to Miami in particular and the ACC as a whole. I want to talk about Notre Dame's upcoming game against Pitt. This is why it's BS that it's not talked about enough that Notre Dame does not play a conference schedule. Speaking as someone that is not taking care of business inside of this conference in 20 years, these games are hard. People understand that while our non-conference schedule didn't go our way, let's put all our energy into this conference game. The conference games matter. Pat Narduzzi, coach of the Pittsburgh Panthers, you have College Game Day descending upon that pro stadium that they play on. Biggest game of the week, hugely impactful for the CFP. He's asked how important is this game do or die for Pitt? And his response is no, we can lose by 100 points. It doesn't matter. What matters is Georgia Tech. What matters is Miami. He was asked about his focus for Notre Dame, and he responded by saying he was more focused about Miami. That's the problem with this whole non-conference thing. It's not the fact that you don't have to worry about losing in a conference championship and what drawbacks that may have. That's another thing entirely. Is you don't get people's best shot. It is oftentimes a game that is of zero consequence. Now, you're Notre Dame. We're Miami. We know when we play non-conference, even in conference, we can make somebody's season by losing to them. We got a lot of people's best punch because of who we are. I'm not doubting that's when Notre Dame runs into a hell of a lot. But you don't hear that anywhere else. There is a top 25 ranked game with College Game Day, and the coach is not giving any voice to making this any type of important. And it made me insanely jealous at the position that Notre Dame is in.
Yeah, that was an interesting comment. I took it as he's just trying to be psychologist, and they got game day coming, right? There's a lot of pressure on their team, probably more than they felt ever, because Pitt usually plays kind of outside the national radar. So maybe he's just saying, hey, guys, go out there, let it rip, play free, go after these guys, play like the underdog, as opposed to feeling like they have to protect something. I don't know. It was a stupid comment. But yeah, Notre Dame, they haven't beaten anybody.
No.
Like, they have not beaten a single team that's worthwhile. USC
is a good win.
A good, solid win.
No, they beat USC. They have one top 25 win, and they have two good losses. Miami is a good team, despite them shooting themselves in the foot. Miami's a good football team when they play their best game, and Miami did play a clean game against Notre Dame. And Texas A&M, we agreed, they're the best team in the SEC. They're a really good, fantastic football team. I'm curious if Notre Dame does lose this game to Pitt, which I don't think they will, because the Pitt head coach just told you this game, I don't care about it so much. Would Pitt jump Miami using the logic that they beat Notre Dame?
Which is fine. I hope they do jump us. If they jump us, it's fine. I mean, we got to beat them anyways, right?
Mm-hmm.
So before we shift the focus to 1-0, which is where it should be, because
I'll focus as 3-0.
Notre Dame has played three teams, 3 out of conference games against teams that are a combined 0-18 in conference play, all cellar dwellers. Now, I know this is a weird year in football. Conference expansion has kind of laid the groundwork for really good teams to not have a good win. Really?
Yeah.
It's kind of strange. So I understand when Notre Dame people buck up against, you could say that about anybody. Okay. You can't say it about Miami. You can't. You may be able to say about it. You may be able to say that about a lot of teams. You can't be saying that about Miami, who beat you head to head. Again, not a conversation for this week. Miami's got to beat NC State. Miami understands what it has to do. But if you can bet your bottom dollar, if we get to that week, Pete, where we have done everything that we need to, and we play clean, and we go 4-0 in the moments that we had to post SMU loss.
You go 1-0 4 times.
Yeah. I am coming out guns a-blazing, because everyone knows that this is BS. Everyone knows that this is BS, and they're trying to rig the game so it's not actually a conversation. If you bunch them up together, then you actually have to have that conversation. If you throw BYU conveniently in between them, if you throw Utah conveniently in between them, Vanderbilt, teams that have no business actually being ahead of Miami, if this were actually CFP week, if you put them all in between Miami, then you can avoid that conversation entirely. The CFP is a bunch of politicians.
You already know what's going to happen.
They
though,
think
Mike.
that you're stupid. They think that you're dumb. And they're going to throw so many questions at you and so many diversionary tactics that anybody with a working brain can say these two teams have the same record. They played on a football field. One team won, the other team lost. You're not putting the loser ahead of the winner. And get out of here with, well, if they played today, Notre Dame would be a 5.5-point favorite. They played in September. Notre Dame was a 2.5-point favorite. Didn't effing matter.
Mike, you know what'll happen though, right? Miami will get to that last game against Pitt. Everything will be ready to go. And Joey Maganelli is going to be on the
Joey Mags. Jerry Mags. Jerry Mags. I'm worried about Jerry Mags.
I like how he changed it to Joey. We had to make it more Italian. But so, like I said, I'm not really worried about the rankings. I love doing these segments because people like talking about him. Mike's fired up. The mic is smoking at the moment. But
why else is Vanderbilt and Utah ahead of Miami?
it's a TV show about a TV show.
No, it's a void accountability show too.
No, 100%. Well, because the only accountability really matters at the end, right? So that's when they're going to really have to face music on certain teams. But I think the key comment from yesterday, really the only comment I took from yesterday, Mike, was, and I forget what's the commissioner's name? Random white dude.
Suit that ESPN put in place there.
Get a more dynamic presence, man. Can we get McAfee there? Can we get Stephen A. Smith there? Can we get some juice there?
Yeah, I mean, they're all plants anyways. You get somebody with TV chops.
But anyways, the one thing he said that caught my attention was he goes, Miami passes the eye test. That's all I needed to hear. Because there's only one eye test. Like, they know kind of what these teams are. They're not going to change their eye test opinion too much if we're winning and taking care of business. So to me, I took that as, we know Miami can play in this tournament. And Miami can play against these other big-time teams.
FOH, like with eye test, Miami did what it had to do. It has Notre Dame on its schedule. It has Florida on its schedule. A joke to some, a team that beat Texas to others. USF. Miami would potentially have 2 wins over CFP teams and be on the outside looking in with the same exact record as the 2 teams that are in ahead of them with head-to-head wins against those 2 programs. And you mean to tell me you have a scenario in which Miami is left on the outside looking in? That's crazy. It's crazy that you have that logic 3 weeks from when you have to reveal the final CFP poll. Like, it doesn't make sense. What, because we lost 2 weeks ago and it's fresher in your mind? Oh, it's such a hyperbolic thing. Very dumb. Pete, hop out.
Pete's hopping out. He's had enough. Oh, he's got a colada right there.
Pete, hop back in. I'm going to need some of that.
Hey, listen, by the way, if you need some of that, I'm sure this is from a fine Ventanita, but if you want the real deal, the highest level, only one place to go, Pete. You know what that is. And that's the Islas Canarias at the Dayland Dining Pavilion. Pete, we were watching videos. It's crazy, man. We're doing this Islas thing for a while. We were watching videos talking about Mendoza back from when he played Auburn. We pulled up those videos, trying to work on a little pat on the back short video.
Cuban Emery.
If he gets drafted, yeah.
Name it the Cuban Emery.
We're working on that one. We're deleting all the old Lofton videos. But I use the same exact transition on Mendoza and don't
delete the JoJo ones. We
13,
do good traffic
13
on those.
months ago that I'm using now for a spot of Islas Canarias. 7 different types of croquetas, all the different types of sandwiches, the classics, twist on the classics, you name it, they got it. The shakes. Are you a big batido guy?
No.
Not a big batido guy?
No.
Well, there are a lot of batido guys out there. And, again, as we have this colada here, they got the colada. They got the ice Cuban latte, which I don't even know what that is, but it sounds
get one of those
innovative.
like little chunks of condensed milk at the bottom of it.
Oh, really? I know. Well, there you go. Get that at Islas Canarias Cuban Express.
Is that what it is? They're on there.
The Dayland Mall Dining Pavilion, the center of cuisine in the Southeast. I think it's fair to say is that dining pavilion all across the world. They got you taken care of. Shout out right next to what's that Cajun place? Cajun Grill.
Cajun Grill.
Right next to Cajun Grill, the finest in the country and the best Cuban food on the planet. Islas Canarias Cuban Express.
Is Cajun Grill the finest in the country? Is that what you were saying?
They made it sound like that.
Of the Cajun genre.
Did they invent the free sample? Cajun Grill? When I close my mind and I think of like the first free sample I had, it was Cajun Grill. I didn't even know bourbon chicken was a thing until malls.
I don't think it was a thing until Cajun Grill, probably.
Joel Warren says, Herbie and Galloway on their pod after the show said, if we win out, we'll be in. That's all I needed to know. Yeah, I still think.
I think so. I think so too. At a certain point, logic has to enter the equation. That's why I expanded way too much energy
You're
just
cooking.
now.
But it's not even just deserve and all that. I think at the end of the day,
It's lunacy.
they think we're good. I think they know that we're a good team.
We are good.
So if they have a reason to put us in logically, which means we're 10-2, which again, you got to go 1-0 this week and then 1-0 next week and then 1-0 the week after that.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're 10-2, like what they don't want is they don't want that SMU game against Penn State. That was a debacle. I watched 10 minutes of that game.
Yeah, it was bad. Jennings was not the guy he was against us.
Right.
He was rattled.
But Miami, say what you will about playing down to their opponents. It's all fair. Obviously, we lost to SMU. But Miami in that environment, you would not bet on them just completely folding and looking overmatched. They have not really when they played that kind of team.
Last 2 years of data tells you this team doesn't get blown out. You've always espoused the virtues of if you're good in the trenches, you're hard to blow out.
And you're hard to just overwhelm with talent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not going to go show up there and be like, man, one team belongs, one team doesn't. Miami looks like they belong. Josh Pate said we're the most physically impressive team he saw all season, and he's going to all these different sidelines. So I think that more than anything, yeah, brand plays a part. Shout out to Chris. Brand plays a part in all that, but I think it's if we make this television show, who's going to put on the best television? And Miami, on top of having the U on their helmet, is going to play a real game and give you a real chance to win against a Notre Dame, a Texas A&M, an Ohio State, whoever they're name, the impressive team that we'd have to play. We have ways that we can match up with them. Maybe we don't win, but we'll certainly make it a game. And I think that ultimately is what's going to push us over the top because Utah, or BYU, Bear Bachmeier, are you kidding me? You think Bear Bachmeier is going to do anything against Ohio State?
We'll see.
It's a joke.
I think BYU.
Whoa. I can go to a little video we did on Group Chat Sports about a month ago where you were singing Bachmeier's praises,
Loving him up,
man.
Loving him up.
This is a funny
player.
guy right here.
If
man.
Miami played a road game at Provo, we'd be nervous about it.
Bro, Bachmeier can boogie.
Yeah,
man. He can boogie a little bit now.
Only a 5.5 point spread
Big
against
boy.
TCU. I think they end up losing to TCU, so maybe that'll get taken care of. It's almost like the CFP is just hoping against hope these teams around Miami keep winning. The dream scenario would be Miami losing, so they don't actually have to address this thing. By the way, let me go on record right now. If Louisville wins out the rest of this season, and there's a situation in which Miami, Notre Dame, and Louisville are all in the same record and are in the CFP debate, I'd be Team Louisville there. I would be. Why? Head-to-head has to matter. It has to. Stop talking about hypotheticals because you guys are wrong every year. Hypothetically, I know what everybody was talking about. If Alabama gets in the CFP, they may win the whole thing, and then they get drubbed by Michigan, and it doesn't stick to that conference or that program for whatever reason. I'm going to be so pissed off come decision week. So pissed off. Thank God we lost our dumb one a month earlier than we usually do. Because we have this opportunity that would not have been afforded to Miami like it wasn't last year. If we lost the last game of the season, we'd be out. We'd be dead in the water.
Blaze A says, most have ever agreed with Ruiz on one show. I got to say,
You're getting that a lot lately.
it's been
Mike.
a face turn.
Yeah.
Been a little bit of a face turn.
I'm not thrilled
You're the same
about
gimmick.
it. Yeah, I'm not thrilled about it.
You're
I'm
the
not-
same gimmick.
But the people have come around.
People come around.
Yeah, it's kind of like how there's a couple guys that started out as heels, and then the crowd just makes some baby faces, and nothing about their character changes whatsoever. It's just the crowd got hot with it.
Sounds like Manny Diaz with the Canes fan base. Guy sucks.
I really appreciate your Manny Diaz content. We may need them though, so let's rally the troops.
I'm not banking on it, man. I think I've said it every week. That thing's gonna continue to crumble.
There's a comment that says Louisville is trash without Isaac Brown. Well, if they run the table, they're clearly not trash without Isaac Brown. If they don't lose another game, that's the gambit here is they don't lose another game. They're trash without Isaac Brown. That doesn't hold any water at that point. If they win out every game, they got a pretty good shot of having an extra game too, and not even being the same record as Notre Dame and Miami. And it doesn't matter at that point either. The ACC already had plenty of twists and turns. The rest of college football had plenty of twists and turns. I'm going to try to reserve my anger for when the time comes. Let's go 1-0. I'm worried about NC State. I'm happy that it's at home. I hope that second half was indicative of where this program is now, because that first half, D-Money, and I heard you speak about this, Stanford vibes.
Oh, big time
Stanford vibes, which we were all right to be worried about. So was the second half that compelling against Syracuse that gave you different vibes? Because remember, all we did was the talent ended up winning out. We just wore Stanford down. It's a bad football team. And you can say the very same thing about Syracuse. But I do think that we did different things in that second half that gave me reason for cautious optimism.
That SMU game, which was after Stanford, right? So Stanford goes the way it goes. The first half proves to be more predictive than the second half, right? I know you were really nervous after that Stanford game.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, when you look at that SMU game, we took away our own juice very often. The drop by JoJo Trader, the penalties. It wasn't like we came out there and didn't have anything in the chamber. We shot ourselves in the foot.
We learned nothing. We learned nothing. And this speaks to a narrative around the program that this is more of my face turn, I guess. How's everybody in Miami? This is the best town I've ever been in. You fans always bring it. McFoley cheap pops. We were right to freak out about that Stanford performance. Help me out here for a second.
We were right to freak out about that Stanford performance.
We were right to freak out. And all that we got was a cocky Shannon Dawson press conference, and it is what it is, and A-gap discourse and all this. And then they lose to SMU in a way that we were saying they'd lose, predictably. That you're forming bad habits here. You got away with it the previous game. Get out in front of these tendencies before other teams do. And Miami was just super stubborn and didn't think that they had to change anything. And it was only until a loss that maybe ends your season in terms of the CFP and certainly in the ACC that you actually see creative outside the box thinking, different play calls, outside runs that we've always done well at. Let's call more of those. And the fans were right the entire time. We've done this. We've been on the opposite end where the fans don't know. Look, on this team, there are certain conversations fans don't know jack about. JoJo Trader being one of them. The discourse around that is you either know you're plugged in and you know what's going on, or you're just someone looking for engagement on Twitter and engaging in a bad faith debate that probably says more about your opinions about our coaching staff than anything else. But when it came to Miami's tendencies, the fans were all over it. They were right to freak out. The staff was stubborn. And part of the discourse from the fans was, you're being too stubborn. And you were like, hold this beer. We got to get away from reacting to things. We got to be proactive. Mario is so good and has proven during his time here in Miami, once a problem pops up, he will address it. He will correct it. And we're getting to the point now, I want this to all work out for Mario because eventually we're going to reach a tipping point where we've whacked all the moles. What other problems can possibly pop up that he hasn't come across? But I really hate that this staff and this team waits for a loss, waits for bleep to get too real before they end up changing and it forces their hands. That is not what a good staff is supposed to be doing. And I believe this to be a good staff. They got to get out in front of these problems before they end your season, D.
Grizz says,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Late to the stream, but I'm surprised you guys think we are in. Seems like more of a placeholder to an ACC champ is crowned. Yeah, I gotta be completely honest. I did that as complete and total clickbait. I don't know that we're in. I don't think we're in, but I said we're in. That's the fun of the bait.
Yeah, but I mean,
and here we all are having a great time discussing whether or not Miami is.
We'll naturally climb if we keep winning.
Pete, you know what? You know they had that ESPN show, Embrace Debate.
I think that's just what First Takes.
Okay, First Take.
Am I
Embrace
wrong,
Debate.
Mike? I mean, I think that's just their slogan.
All right, we got to be Embrace Debate for the clickbait. Just embrace the bait.
Embrace.
We're
the
in.
bait.
The Canes are in.
Yes.
Just embrace the bait.
Embrace the bait.
Embrace the bait.
Jake Campbell says CIS, the home of thigh evaluations and A-gap discourse. We can also have thigh gap discourse. I'm glad that trend's kind of
the only
faded.
thing CIS has been wrong about this football season has been Elijah Lofton and Jordan Lyle. I
Yeah.
love Jordan Lyle.
Yeah. Well, I don't say only, but yeah, those we're pretty wrong on those.
I mean, we do put out score predictions, so no one's predicted Miami to lose just yet. So we've been wrong a handful of times. A little wrong on Carson Beck, maybe. I don't think Carson Beck's been bad. I think Carson Beck is probably the second best quarterback we've had here in the last 20 years or so.
De'Aaron King, maybe, but yeah.
De'Aaron King, yeah, you're right. He's right there in that class.
Right there, yeah.
He hasn't been bad. He's just bad relative to where everybody's expectations are and the guy that he directly took the ball from.
I'm glad Pete pulled this up. I was going to pull this out.
I had to say one thing, and then I have not. But I did see Sally Altuntaj on campus today after I got my haircut with my boy Oliver at Golden Touch, baby. Shout out to Oliver. Appreciate you, man. I did see Sally on campus today, man.
You should ask him to take you to a Turkish bathhouse. You're a spa guy. You're always in the sauna. It would probably be better with someone who's Turkish, but I think I could do it probably on my own. Yeah. Have you ever been in one of those Turkish bathhouses? You have to be naked in those, right?
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like people seeing my dick.
Yeah. No, I'm not
not
down with that. But yeah, let us know your Turkish bathhouse thoughts in the comments.
I don't like that. I like dividers on my urinals.
Were you gonna say something else, or
I forgot. I started thinking about Turkish bathhouses and my mind went astray.
Peeing at a trough, I hate that. Stop looking at my dick.
Yeah, that was the old Orange Bowl. The trough.
Hated that. Thankfully, I wasn't at an age when I did the majority of my Orange Bowling where I was just pounding BUZZNs.
Great transition. Before I even get to my substantive college football point, let's talk about BUZZNs, man. BUZZN, BUZZN.com. I got so many of these in my house. I got to hide them from the kids. They're like super high up in the shelf. I got to like climb to get them. Drink BUZZN.com. Use code FIRST50 for 50% off your first order. Go to Big Daddy's Liquors. You know about Big Daddy's. You guys all know about Big Daddy's Liquors. They got the BUZZN by the crate there. Anywhere in South Florida, go get your BUZZN, or you can just order it online no matter where you are. That's drink BUZZN.com. That is drink BUZZN.com. But yeah, what I wanted to get to was, this is unbelievable to me. I had to check this a bunch of times, and maybe this will change. Hopefully it changes for the better and not the worse, because we still got 3 games to go. But Miami's scoring offense, so I believe it's at 31 plus points per game against FBS competition. This would actually be our 3rd best offense of the last 20 years.
Scoring last year, and what?
De'Aaron King's first year was Rhett Lashley, yeah. Which actually,
and Miami's within striking distance. They can actually top that number.
So it could top that number. We've been trashed for 22 years.
That's a fact. But it's amazing though, because really, this offense has been disappointing to all of us. I'm not going to try to polish it and say that this offense has been exactly what we wanted. This is
the running game in particular
at all. It's been the reason why we are where we're at. Trying to look at these college football rankings as opposed to just winning you're in. The offense is the biggest reason. So I'm not going to pretend that the offense is what we wanted. But even with all the problems, and I was shocked to find this, it's really not that bad relative to our history. It's ranked 31st in the country. Now, what I'd like to see, obviously, is you play NC State, which is giving up 33 points a game, one of the worst defenses in the country. And this is a good transition, NC State, which I know we'll talk about. They're abysmal in terms of their scoring defense. But let's say you get 33 or more. Virginia Tech, we know their defense is bottom of the barrel. And then Pittsburgh, they have a very good rush defense, but they're more of a shootout-oriented type of team with the way they're playing, their style of play. So that number could go up, or it could go down, and you're losing some games. So the offense is clearly going to be the story of these next 3 games, and let's see how they finish before we place them historically with these Canes.
We know that Miami can play a ball control game in which they can go head-to-head against a team that maybe even has a little bit more talent. They can go in as an underdog in these games, and they could equalize by their approach. Will be execution oriented, time of possession, limit everybody's possessions, and will win that game. That's cool if you're playing Notre Dame. It is not good when you get into conference play. Your mantra should be, we need as many touches as possible because the talent will win out. We get more possessions, we'll break through, we'll score more points. I want to see tempo. I want to see Shane and Dawson enter every game from here on out saying, how many possessions can I get my quarterback in this offense? We need more touches, because we get more touches. We have the second best offense, arguably, over the last 25 years of this storied program. And that was what we were all screaming about before that SMU game. And we approached it the same exact way. You have to play a perfect game. You have to execute perfectly. You can't have procedural penalties. You can't have turnovers. Miami doesn't do those things well. So get more possessions. Miami was a deeply flawed team last year, and their only way out of it was getting Cam Ward as many touches as possible. Miami's got more talent than anybody they face for the rest of this regular season. Got to play the numbers game. Get more lotto tickets. Get more possessions for your guy. That's why I think the second half had me feeling optimistic in ways that Stanford didn't, because that wasn't all about talent discrepancy. That was about pushing the pace. That was about outside the box thinking. That was about outside the box running. That was about new players emerging. And as someone that is a huge Jordan Lyle guy, you and I are both big Jordan Lyle guys. We've been out there at practice where he was consistent, where he was dynamic, where his pass protection was good, where his catching ability was good, where his burst was great, where his vision was good. I don't know what's going on with Jordan Lyle, but I have to admit he's not doing the things necessary to keep getting opportunities. He had enough touches to get going in the last game. You put in a different player, and he looks great in Pringle. Yeah. I am worried about Pringle in some aspects of the game. I'm not team like, well, let's just give Pringle all the touches there. Where are you on that? I think he's a young player that is flawed in pass protection. I don't trust him there. I like him as a gadget guy. Like, this is a Pringle drive.
Right.
Let me design stuff for him. But like the rigmarole of snap in, snap out, he's not there yet.
Well, we played Syracuse, which was one of the worst teams in the country. It's kind of like, USF last year with Lyle. He had the one run. Everybody wanted him to start over Martinez. It's a long season. You got to kind of see how it plays out. But certainly I think you earn more opportunities. You're right. Pass protection. He's going to, just being young, not having the most size is going to be a question for him. But I think he certainly earned more carries, and his explosiveness, his ability to get upfield so fast is something we need. So obviously I cheer for all the players, but you're particularly cheering for him to get it going because he can give you something that you've lacked in the running game. Arena, appreciate
I really want Lyle to get going so bad. I don't want, trust me, if Jordan Lyle leaves his program because he's frustrated about how it's gone here, Jordan Lyle is going to be excellent somewhere else. He's a really good player. I'm sorry that we don't have enough evidence this season to prove it. I don't know. There's some debate as to whether or not he got enough touches the last game to find his rhythm. I mean, he's not being super effective. I don't know.
Outside runs too in this last game. It wasn't like it was just a gap like everybody says.
Is this the injury? Yeah. Is there something else going on here? I'm really confused. My eyes aren't lying to me that much from what we've seen at the practice field.
We had some Illini. Shout out to the late Glenn Frey here at practice with Lofton, Lyle, and Trader. Trader really in spring was our best receiver. Tapered off, got hurt. Malachi Tony, clearly, if you listen to our August shows, was doing every single day. But Trader at one point was considered to be the key to the offense from the passing game standpoint. Lofton was dominant. Because you talk to people that aren't me. Everybody that was going to practice was singing the praises of Lofton because the guy was just making play after play. And then Lyle, I know you're a big fan of, but
yeah, all three players got hurt. Lyle in the very first game.
Yeah.
The other two in camp, which might explain that. Lofton just doesn't have the same body, and he wasn't a body guy anyways. No. He's just a really different player.
Looking sluggish. I wanted to point this out though, because this is disturbing. This is right in Pete's wheelhouse. I know Pete's ready to jump all over this. So these are 2024 Miami football commits. As you scroll down.
Oh, no. I saw you trot this out in the group chat. I was worried about this.
It's ugly. So defensively.
No, I mean, listen, I'm not. Go up real quick, D. I want more of that. I want more of those rankings. I know it didn't turn. I know we're going to go through and there's a lot of, but I want that number in that top 7.
Oh, yeah,
I want more of that. I can't get on it.
Right.
They brought the talent here.
But what these going to show you is the number is lower the following year, and the guys on offense are way better.
Well, so you look at these guys at the top, which is your high-value defensive linemen. These are the guys you really have to spend a lot of money on.
Happy with what we saw with Justin Scott.
Yeah,
that last game.
Very encouraging. These guys, I feel the arrow's pointing up with all three. They all play on this defense, which is the strength of the team. One of the best defenses in the country. They look right. Their bodies look right. Their movements look right. They're not that yet. Like, they're not what they're ranked right now, but I feel good about these three as building blocks going forward. Zaquan, we know how that turned out. Got cut from Oklahoma State at falling asleep during a scrimmage. Bad situation there. And then you look at the offensive side. JoJo Trader, we hope that this becomes a hit, but right now, not there. Nikar has not been able to break through. Really just focusing on the offensive guys here. Elijah Lofton, we talked about him. Chance Robinson has not played. Jordan Lyle, again, not what you'd hope to this point, not what the coaches expected. Markel Bell, if you count him as a assignee, he's a JUCO guy. I mean, this was a home run. He's one of the best tackles in the country.
Lyle and Lofton had very good freshman efforts for this team.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be the strength of the class, if you ask me, in spring. But right now, it's hard to say. I mean, Dylan Day is going to contribute. OJ Frederick, a lot of these guys aren't contributing. But really, if we just go through the offensive guys in this class, who's the best offensive player right now in this class? There isn't one. I mean, Lofton starts, so I guess you'd say him, but he's not playing well. So this was really a zero class to this point on offense from a production standpoint. Doesn't mean it's going to stay there, but that's shocking to me when I went back and looked at the offensive players from that top 5, top 6 class.
But with Lofton, there are answers, right? Injury, body's not quite there. He's not a good blocker. Maybe we didn't see him get enough snaps last year because he had Cam McCormick out there doing a lot of the blocking assignments. Maybe that weakness in his game has been amplified by the fact that there's no one else to take that.
I also think with Lofton too, like when he was doing his best work, it was in a bit of a different role than what he's playing now.
Yeah.
He was playing a lot of running back that spring. Like, and I don't know that was ever going to be the role he actually played here unless they force-fed him that opportunity. They needed him to be a tight end this year. My thing all Camp D, and I was a fan of his as well, but probably not as on the same level. But I understood he wasn't going to be the same vertical threat because of the body type. But I just don't know that every time he has touched the ball, we can say, man, he deserves more touches. Because at the beginning of the year, there was people saying, hey, let's scheme him up the ball. And I think the more we've seen him get the ball, the more it's like, okay, he's going to have to do something else within the offense because
these are also developing players, and approach to the game matters. And I think JoJo and Elijah have to learn to be pros a little bit more with their approach to preparation and getting right on the field. I don't have those concerns when it comes to Jordan Lyle. That's why I'm really struggling with this one. Jordan Lyle does the things that you want. He works hard. He's got it.
He had. I mean, coming out of the second scrimmage, D, correct me if I'm wrong. I remember meeting up with some people who were there, and everyone was like, "Man, that Lyle's the best back on the team." Like after that second scrimmage,
he's got the fitness, he's got the body type. Lyle is very eerily similar to Bane, I guess, but Bane's body looked different last year. Bane had an injury. Maybe that's the thing. The injury in the first game, and then they just really struggle with trying to get back. Maybe they're hiding stuff. Maybe it's more impactful of an injury than they let on because they want to be out there and they're not being as effective out there. I'm really struggling because he's a good player and he's got a good mentality. He's got a good approach to everything. He's got every tool. He's a complete back. This one, it's tough, but I can't argue for him to get more touches when the other guys are doing more with limited touches. The Pringle stuff was exciting.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm with you. He doesn't dance around. He is decisive. He knows exactly what to do when the ball hits his hands. He knows where to go. That kind of vision with that speed, when you couple those two things and the lanes that this offensive line is capable of opening up, that gives your offense some pop that it sorely needs.
And with Lyle and Trader to a lesser extent, because Trader had to deal with Dalen Upshaw coming in and catching a screen and taking it further than any pass he's taken so far. So I think one nice outcome to on Saturday would be if a JoJo Trader and a Jordan Lyle really crank it up, seeing the competition from the younger guys, or the younger guys just run away with it. Either way, that's what competition is. But I think the fact that Lyle's not saying, "Oh, I'm on the bench. I'm getting limited carries because Fletcher's out there." He started the game. He got a lot of carries. Trader started the game, got a lot of targets. So now you have to have a soul searching moment and say, I got a lot of opportunities. I started the game. The guys ahead of me were hurt. And then it wasn't the problem coming from somebody above me. It was someone behind us on the depth chart, right? Which is Pringle and Upshaw. Yeah. So we'll see how they react to that. I think they'll react positively. And hopefully instead of having one player, two players, you have four players, right? Pringle and Upshaw continue to perform well, and then JoJo and Lyle step up. But
I'm just
we gotta
about
see
out
it.
of runway. Like I'm always a guy that tries to talk logic and reason with people. Like I was in those stands with at SMU. A lot of people around me saying, "Stop giving him touches." I'm like, no, like I need him to get touches.
Right.
I need him to find a rhythm. But if other dudes behind you on the depth chart are getting fewer touches and are impacting the game more positively, I'm running out of runway here to defend him. And I really sincerely hope it all starts clicking for him, because he is a special talent, and he is so special. And other programs know this. They've sniffed around Jordan Lyle. They all saw that play at USF. They know what he's capable of. Everyone talks about the practices and who looks good there. This is one that you want to hold on to. This is one that every Miami fan should be hoping that this one works out, because he is a pro running back. He's really good, and I wish I had more proof for you.
Steve Smith is not buying the Upshaw. He says Upshaw didn't do anything yet. Upshaw had one reception. That was a screenplay. Now he's taking someone's position. JoJo had a touchdown.
Okay, I get it. I think we've seen more football in practice.
Yeah, he's shown a lot, but it's true though. It's not like you hand it to Upshaw or you hand it to Pringle. I mean, beyond just the limited,
This is an ongoing
sample
It's an
size.
ongoing.
JoJo
thing,
had
yeah.
a horrific football game the last game.
Yeah, it was.
He
it's hard
had
to
a
watch, yeah.
horrific football game. Do you know how hard it is to identify a receiver being bad when we don't know their route tree? It is a hard position to know who is bad at, who is having a bad game. JoJo had a terrible game. JoJo, yeah, I understand why we like him. Body control, deep threat. There is absolutely plenty to be excited about when it comes to his game. And you hope sincerely that he puts it all together, that he learns to be a pro, that he learns to be more consistent on the field, because there's so much to like there. He was bad. Don't talk to me about, well, JoJo had the one touchdown. I mean, these are losing plays. The interception at SMU, that went from a kill shot play to putting the game back into hanging in the balance in a game that you eventually lost. I know the touch. You want to get excited for the touchdown. Dropping a pass and handing it over to a defender is a losing play. SMU literally scored the very next play. And the running through your routes, the effort, not falling down when you can get more yards, like all this stuff matters. Especially with Miami's approach, which is these games are going to be a little bit tighter. You got to be able to trust the people that are on the field. You have to. JoJo Trader is not super easy to trust right now. And you don't have a margin for error anymore. So you're going to turn to guys that you can trust in there. You got to be able to understand that that's what the staff is doing. You don't know any better. Just because a guy had one touchdown in a Pop-Tart bowl, you think you know ball. You're not paying attention to the negatives. We're not having a serious discourse.
So, Mike, give me like 2 more minutes of that.
Okay.
2 more minutes, because we like these segments to be a little.
He can put it all together. I hope he does. But like going off of what we've seen on the field, it's been a very mixed bag for JoJo. And we're trying to win. Are we not?
We're trying to win.
We're trying to win. I want to trust everybody that's out there. And right now, just going off of what I've seen on the field, forget practice. I haven't even been at the practices that JoJo's torn up. JoJo was hurt at a lot of the practices that I went to. But I don't trust what I see on the field right now. I don't. He is just as likely to have the ball bounce off his hands, get thrown up in the air like we're playing CFB 26 after an update, and it get housed in the opposite direction than he is to have a big time play in the end. We can't lose another game. This is not about developing the talent on the field and going through those growing pains. Miami's talent at that position isn't that dire. There are guys like Upshaw that are going to have one play samples. Okay, yeah, you're right. It's one play. He got one opportunity and he ran 40 yards with it. Cool. If opportunity number 2 comes along and he decides to let the ball hit him in the hands and throw it up in the air for a safety to run the other way in it, then I don't want him out there as much, I guess.
We got the 8-bit graphics here. We're buffering a little bit, but yeah, I can't argue.
We buffer when I start blowing hot air.
Yeah, you were.
Oh, that was the Tehran Terrier starting to send his internet weaponry through the
cyber warfare from the heck.
He's starting to hear the negative talk.
Cyber terrorism from the WEC.
I gotta say, man, there's still some good people in the communications department. James Canable, I think it's him, man. He's been the school has been collaborating with us on Instagram on posts. D. So there's still some good people in there. Shout out to James Knable. And Evan Roberts doing a phenomenal job on the basketball side.
I'm seeing people go at me for like what Caneville is going. Caneville was responding to a tweet that was about the fan base, and I was calling out idiots. If Caneville wants to put his name to being an idiot, go right ahead. Like, you want to tell on yourself, fine. Like, I wasn't calling anybody out in particular. I was calling out the discourse. Like, it's just, you don't know. You don't actually know what's going on. You don't. If you did, you wouldn't be caping up for this player as much as you did.
Sunday afternoon, Streeter with D. So stay tuned.
We'll
for
be
that,
celebrating. Listen, I hope we're popping champagne, celebrating a JoJo Trader 150-yard performance, one-handed catches, the whole deal. But yeah, shout out to communication. Shout out to Miss Alicia for her birthday. Shout out to Miss Alicia. She got more love on Instagram than Cam Ward. So shout out to the whole crew at the Hecht, even though they're messing up our stream when we talk negative. But one thing with NC State, you look at we mentioned their scoring defense is terrible. Their particular weakness is against the pass. So just pulling up some stats here. We're doing some stats on the show. Yards per pass attempt allowed is all FBS competition only. 115th in the nation. So in terms of when teams drop back and throw, 115th in pass efficiency defense. Sack percentage. So this is their ability to sack the quarterback based on the opponent's dropbacks as a percentage. 123rd in the nation. Takeaways, taking the ball away, obviously a problem against Louisville, which is a very good takeaway team.
Mm-hmm.
SMU, also a very good takeaway team. NC State, 109th in takeaways, 0.9 per game. Now, SMU was good at takeaways. They were bad in pass defense, comparable to NC State, but they were good in the run, exceptional against the run. So they had different ways to play you. NC State's also poor against the run. Not as bad as the passing game, but they're also poor against the run. So they're just a worse defense than Louisville and SMU. And just one thing before you hop in. Brandon Cisse from NC State last year, now in South Carolina. Tamarcus Cooley, now at LSU. Bishop Fitzgerald, now at USC. Devin Boykin, now in Indiana. These are all NC State defensive backs that are not just playing elsewhere, but like playing a ton of snaps, basically starters at much better teams than NC State. So they lost a ton of talent in the defensive backfield. They are particularly vulnerable there. They don't get after the passer. They can't exactly just rely on their front four to stop the run or front seven to stop the run because they're not a good run defense team either. This is a matchup that needs to be exploited. If JoJo Trader and the rest of the boys are going to get going, this is the game.
I agree. Not a great defense. And they've already won the Save Dave Doran job game against Georgia Tech. So we should have avoided that right now. When you go about when you're going over those stats, it reminds me of a conversation that I was listening to earlier today about how Alabama is not super balanced. That they're not a perfect defense. It's not like years past, but they are elite at taking the ball away. It made me wonder what's going on. Why isn't Miami making these big plays like that? That was a hugely impactful interception return before the half that gave that team life, along with the people in 306. Shout out to those guys.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Shout out to 306. It's not often where fans change a game like that. It might be a small sample, it might be a random occurrence, but it did give people juice. But turnovers give people juice. And this defense, while it's a really good defense, we trust the DC and we have good personnel that is able to navigate injury. Why aren't they forcing as many turnovers? I mean, I know what happened in SMU. The corrupt Jerry Maggs came in and did his bidding.
Joey.
We wanted to make it Joey.
Maganelli.
Yeah, all right.
Joey Maggs.
Yeah, all right. He took one away. But there are these games that are hanging in the balance, and you kind of need these impactful turnovers occasionally. Miami's not getting big-time turnovers. They're getting pressure, but we're not getting the strip sacks that we used to see. Why is that with Miami?
So just pulling up the stats, Miami takeaways per game, not that bad, 24th actually, which is more than I thought. They've had a few fumbles that have bounced our way.
Yeah.
So I think interceptions.
A lot of weather games.
Yeah, I don't know if interceptions, I could pull up the interception specific stats, but takeaways we're doing okay. 24th, that's an improvement. But I agree, it doesn't feel like that interception for a touchdown by Keontae Scott last week. That was like, man, where's that been?
Mm-hmm.
Really, where's
They've
that
had
been
some
for
timely
a while?
ones. They had the Isaac Brown fumble. They had the Justin Scott.
That was a huge
against
play.
Notre Dame.
It was raining.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a big one.
It was a big hit week one.
Against Stanford, right? He had his pick.
Wow, so interceptions were actually 32nd. We got 9.
Yeah, you have Bryce has 3. You
Oh,
got
yeah, Bryce.
Keontae Scott.
was emerging.
Scott.
Jacoby Thomas has a couple.
Jacoby Thomas has had that other one that was a bobbler.
I guess my eyes are lying to me.
Yeah.
My bad.
Shout out Glenn Frey, man. That's 2 in one day. Watching some 80s Eagles on Twitter. They were still good, man. Even when they replaced the bases, they were still rocking and rolling.
Was Cunningham QB?
No, QB
Jaworski?
was Don Henley.
Oh, Jaworski was in the 70s.
Don Henley was the quarterback. But you had Tim Schmidt on
Cunningham
base.
was a little after that, yeah.
Didn't Tim Schmidt have wasn't he the vocalist on like a adult contemporary hit that they had?
I mean, it was one of the best songs I've ever. Love will keep us alive. I mean, my boy Renee. Shout out to Renee. He swears that the Tim Schmidt era is honestly better in many ways.
Really?
You had that one. I don't know too many other hits of that
era. Creepy
looking
guy, Tim Schmidt.
Let's pull up Tim Schmidt. I'm a Schmidt guy. I am a Schmidt guy. Now, you had Meisner, unbelievable on Take It to the Limit.
Kind of like you put like a Garth Algar wig on James Carville.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. He definitely's got an elfish quality. It's like a Lord of the Rings kind of guy.
Uh-huh.
You know, one of those elves.
I don't like it.
What don't you like? The way he looks?
I don't like it.
Tim Schmidt. So yeah. So let's see. What do you have here? Love Will Keep Us Alive was unbelievable. He had a solo career. Doesn't look like it was particularly productive.
How many guys could be vocalists in this band? It's incredible.
They can all sing. They can all sing, man. That's what made them special. The Eagles. I like.
We lost Pete.
Oh, he's on Dirty Laundry too. Oh, here. Schmidt is also the soaring high register vocals at the end of Toto's 1982 single Africa.
No way.
That's what it says right here.
Nah.
Can we get a picture of Schmidt out here? This is not even the song of the week. We just got to get Tim Schmidt out here. Where's Tim Schmidt at? Let's see. Let's get a good picture of this guy. You'd be shocked. There's a lot of Tim Schmidts. I Googled the name. A lot of LinkedIn's popped up.
I was going to look for it, but I have no idea.
A lot of LinkedIn's, a lot of CPAs.
Yeah. I'm uneasy around the DJ discourse. I think DJ Volume has shown that he can do a good job. I believe him when he said that there are other factors at play. It is curious that there seems to be an audition for that DJ spot now. DJ was good on Saturday, I felt, but when it comes to DJ discourse for the moment, I am opting out of it.
Yeah, there's Tim Schmidt right there. He looks the same. Does a nice job. We need we have some injuries. We might need some Tim Schmidts in on our lineup, right? We're some big injuries, a lot of guys that are rounding back into health. So who's going to be the Timothy Schmidt? Who's going to have the hit single that they don't expect? You know, it's going to be some opportunity.
It might be Pringle. It might be Pringle.
You know, on defense.
On defense, right. We
know Frederick's out. You know, let's see who can step up and do their thing.
There's some cryptic IG posts that had me worried.
Cryptic IG.
You know
post.
what? You know what has
IG
me
post
feeling
about
good?
1,000. Pete,
You know what has me feeling good?
What?
The fact that we had Pops again today, because he got us back on track last week.
You sure did.
Patrick was right. We had our Pop subs today for lunch. He said we were getting off rhythm. That's why we lost the SMU game. We had it last week. We got back on track. Shout out to Pop subs. Got us right today.
Shout out to Pop subs. I want to kind of do another shout out. May I? Are we in the shout out portion of the show?
No, I was just thinking about it because we had forgotten to shout him out during the Wednesday show.
Right on time. We got to shout out Patrick, man. The guy's like, there's people that are integral to this whole operation, whether it's CanesInSight or Miami Hurricanes in general. He's one of them. Shout out Patrick. Shout out Pop subs. I also got to shout out the OrchidMan. I said this story on one of the earlier pods, ORCHID, man. So my wife got sideline passes. One of her friends, shout out Nicole, had sideline passes. So she was there. I was there slumming with the fans, with the people. You know, I'm always with the people. Never
I saw your wife walking through the 72 Club. I went to say hello, and then she was walking with purpose, and she entered through an elevator that was very private. I'm like, what's going on over here? I just got big time by Mrs. Money.
The rare big time of Mike. Yeah, you had to now you know how it feels. Now you know how Johnny Lagoon felt at the whipping did. But so she goes down to the sideline.
I miss Johnny.
She sees going. He was popping up in the chat. He's got a kid now. He's taking care of the kid instead of participating in the chat. I don't know what his priorities are. But so my wife gets down to the sideline. So she sees, DJ Khaled, Michael Irvin, all kinds of celebrities. Then who's the best seat in the house on the sideline or best spot on the sideline? None other than the OrchidMan, ORCHID man, the landscape artisan of South Florida, from Palm Beach all the way down to the Keys. Residential, commercial. You want a quarterback, you want a point guard to run the show for your landscape. This is the guy. You see these OM trucks all over Miami, some of the highest end places in the city. but it doesn't have to be high-end prices. You can look like $1 million without spending $1 million with OrchidMan, ORCHID man. Florida.com. Sprinkler repair, irrigation system, rain gutters, tree stump grinding. Would you even know how to start on a tree stump grinding? I can't even think where to start on a tree stump grinding.
I put a Mesidor on it. Just put a boot in the ground.
There you go.
One plant foot and go. And over time, that tree stump would whittle away.
The first step, manicured maintenance, tree trimming, tree removal, fertilizing, you name it, they got it at OrchidMan Florida, ORCHID man Florida.com. The DJ thing threw everybody for a loop there, I got to say.
Well, I was just filling the space.
Surprised by you taking up for the guy here, DJ
for
Volume.
DJ Volume. I mean, DJ Volume gave a pretty good reason. We were looking for answers, and he says like I'm not the only person in charge here, which, by the way, was immediately confirmed by them posting a job on job sites. They're very clearly trying to figure it out in the season. They're taking different hacks. I don't. If DJ Volume says there are other things at play there, I've known DJ Volume to be good at other games. It wasn't like, I know it was a little bit of a narrative.
It's like Jordan Lyle kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't understand it. I was curious. We wanted some explanation there, but DJ Volume, I kind of feel bad because we've been part of this discourse. He put that out there, and then he's been less visible and he's been less vocal, which made me think that he probably has some regret, which in turn gave me regret. These guys are just doing a job. I don't know. I feel bad. But it's also like Pringle getting the same amount of carries as Jordan Lyle. These DJs that have been coming in there.
Who was the guy last time? He had two letters. He was good.
Yeah.
DJ like CM or something. What was his name?
He was pretty good, though.
Let us know in the chat. I know the chat's got the DJ game on lock.
DJ
Martin and Yucatan. Talk about irrational confidence. My guy Schmidt. When Tim Schmidt was older, he said he knew everyone was coming to the concert to hear him hit those high notes. Love the Eagles. Guy was a backup. Comes in, and he's got the confidence that when they go to see the Eagles, they're not going to see the Lake Glenn Frey. They're not going to see Joe Walsh. They're not going to see Don Henley. They are going to see Tim Schmidt with the high notes. Shout out to Tim Schmidt.
What do you think the vibe's going to be at Senior Day? We could have a good crowd?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
We had Homecoming boost us. I was really worried about the last crowd, and then I was informed that it's Homecoming.
It won't be a good crowd for that one.
You don't think so?
No.
Wait, this is a good one. How'd you like this one for Brian? This is a good point. I like this. That whoever the DJ was Saturday, he played 4 non-blondes. What's up? When the ref was talking to Mario and the clown named Fran was peak reading the room. You remember that?
Yeah.
That was nice.
Mm-hmm.
That was quick. I don't know they got that so fast. Like you had the 4 non-blondes ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Do we know if it was the DJ or the public address?
Good question.
I mean,
Here's a little young to know.
Here's why I'm laying my sword down. I am willing to concede there's a lot about the production of those games that I don't know, so I don't need to come at it with arrogance. It's kind of like the JoJo Trader thing.
You're on it, man. There's going to be I want to see like a crossfire with you and my man Street, my boy, and you guys just sit there crossfire with JoJo Trader.
I don't know what. Number one,
you guys have a cage match with JoJo Trader up there
I'm not going to say like I don't know who that person is because I have seen Caneville tweets around. It's on my algo. Like I'm not going to say I don't know who that person is, but I'm not hip or wise to him leading the charge on that discourse. I just know it's a thing that I find very stupid.
So you're saying you weren't talking about him?
No, I wasn't.
That's the point.
No, I wasn't. And it's a weird thing to like come in and say, like, to think I'm subtweeting you because like at that point you're like calling yourself an idiot.
I can't wait till you apologize to JoJo just like you apologize to JD. It's going to be like, remember that David Letterman when he hosted the Oscars and he bombed and he had Uma and Oprah in the front row?
Yeah.
And he kept saying Uma, Oprah, and no one laughed at you. Like JoJo, JD.
Well,
JoJo, JD, apologizing to both.
I learned a lot. Well, with JD, I came out with conviction. I said flatly, this isn't the guy. And he maximized the talent that was on that roster. And I think he's willing to do the things he's shown ideologically, more alignment with like that. I'm willing to say I was wrong about that. With JoJo, it's all in JoJo's hands. JoJo can be more consistent. JoJo can have more professional approach to the game and be someone that the staff feels like they can rely on. That kind of growth does happen. Sometimes it happens with guys that you're never 100% trusting in. Jacoby George, for example. Like it goes well until it doesn't, and it ends up blowing your season up at Syracuse. but he's still a young man and he can develop into that. I'm not writing him off. I'm just flatly saying what it is right now. I'm not wrong right now. Anyone that is touting that he should be out there more consistently is hoping against hope that he's who he showed you to be one play in the Pop-Tart. He's not that guy yet. He's just not. He is not someone that you can trust with starters reps just yet. Hopefully that changes. It's all in his control. I'm not saying he's not going to be that guy. If he does end up being that guy, we're all thrilled because I do think he has a skill set that can help Miami. I hope I'm explaining this clearly. I am not an anti-JoJo guy. Couldn't be further from the case. I think he could really help. I'm really frustrated that he's not doing all these things. I'm an anti-JoJo discourse guy because I think it's a lot of people that in their back pocket resent Mario Cristobal and think they know who should be playing more than the coach does. And in this instance, you don't.
All I know is on Sunday, I'm going to send a bottle of Dom P to my guy Streeter. I'll be pouring some BUZZN. It's supposed to bubble. We'll be celebrating 150-yard performance.
You can let him know,
JoJo
like, clearly, I got no problem with him because I don't know who he is, genuinely, and I don't mean that as like an insult. Like I'm not talking to him. I'm
following with the Canes fans.
Sundays
I'm
with
talking
Streeter
to
on
like
CanesInSight. Sundays with Streeter on CanesInSight.
Yeah, I'm just talking to
Go
most of the
watch
people that are in our comments about JoJo and in my tweets about JoJo. Like it's not a Streeter thing. It's not any specific account. And I've been made aware that he's been driving this narrative, but it's not. I don't have a problem with the guy. I do have a problem with anybody that thinks that they know what's going on with JoJo. Like Omar Kelly's another person that has been pretty strong on the JoJo thing, and Omar Kelly's just not at practice. And he's saying things like the people should ask Mario questions about JoJo. Watch a presser. He's asked about routinely. He's the third. I checked. He's the third most asked about player on this team behind the quarterback and Ruben Bain. Both guys were Heisman contenders. They're asked. People are being held accountable. What more do you want? Well, you should be saying what you mean. I do. Kid needs to mature a little bit. He needs to prove that he can be trusted more. These are also teenagers, and most people aren't super comfortable saying that stuff, but that's all that's going on there. All right, I'm done with the JoJo stuff. Sorry to give us our numbers.
LinkedIn Lou, we don't talk about JoJo.
Good.
Did your daughter ever watch that movie?
We don't talk about Bruno?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that movie.
That's pretty good. All right.
It was wrote a musical that knocked that off at number one. Briefly. Encanto. Did
you get a disc for that? Like one of those golden discs?
You don't get a disc. You get the screen cap that has you number one of the iTunes and Encanto.
Why
behind
did I give you the disc?
I mean, I didn't sell like 1 million copies or anything like that.
But you were number one at the time.
And number one at the time. That's what they say. We did chart. We were on the Billboard charts. I can
get the disc made and put it on.
Was number one.
Yeah, like have it here. We'll put it in the
for
studio.
a couple of hours on the Tuesday.
Put it right here. That was big time right there.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to that. Wait, Nick West. Hold on. Not even gonna get into that one right there. Let's see what's going on here. Kim Everett says, just win the damn game. When we win the game, all this is going to be done. Yeah, man. It's
El Rico says, it sounds like you guys know more about JoJo, but you're not sharing. We don't have a full picture. It's but you're critiquing us like we should. We're actually saying the opposite. Like we kind of just see.
He just needs to be more consistent and needs to prove that you can trust him more with the opportunities. And if you watch If you watch the game on Saturday, you know the high ends of JoJo. I mean, the last 2 weeks, he has shown you who he is. He can catch a big-time touchdown and be explosive. He can have a ball bounce off his hands and go the other way. He could not finish running his route. He could run the wrong route entirely. It's a mixed bag. That comes with approach. We got to figure out, is he capable of being consistent? That's a question for JoJo to answer himself, and he's totally in charge of that. I haven't been pulling back punches on JoJo. There is like a secretdom when it comes to spring to fall ball, and you don't want to say who's hurt. You can piss people off. That doesn't make it advantageous for my program. I'm not going to reveal those secrets.
Right.
But if we're like several months into this discourse and I find it dumb, it is what it is. It's on proud display for the last 2 weeks. He's a puzzling player. He needs to be more consistent. And I hope he does become more consistent.
It's going to be a fun show. when the breakout happens. That's going to be the best. Pete, have you ever worked on that clickbait for when he gets 100 yards?
I don't like to put the what is it, the cart before the horse.
Yeah, you got to let it come naturally.
I like to admit
not. That one's got to happen. That one's got to happen.
If you're looking for me to admit something that I'm wrong after the JoJo game, keep looking, because I'm not wrong about anything right now. I'm not. I hope he turns it around. So I love admitting that I'm wrong so much.
CJ Daniels had the same mistake. CJ Daniels also made maybe the greatest.
No,
catch in
CJ Daniels did not make the same mistakes.
He made multiple incredible catches.
No. They're
games for Miami.
And I never once worry about CJ Daniels' approach to the game. They don't make the same mistakes. Like CJ, that's just a drop. When CJ Daniels drops a routine ball, I'm not worried about CJ Daniels not putting in the work in during the week. That's not something that I'm worried about with CJ Daniels. It's not the same thing. I like admitting that I'm wrong so much. I admitted I was wrong on Xavier Restrepo versus Casey Concepcion. You know how ridiculous that debate is in retrospect?
Wait, did they take Restrepo's banner down from the IPF?
See what I mean?
I think it's still there.
Can't win against a bunch of Miami Latinos.
I think it's still hanging up in the IPF.
Yeah, well,
unless I'm mistaken.
Okay,
unless I took it down for some reason.
All right. Well, they're going to be able to take down that hug that Concepcion gives Roger Goodell in the first round of the NFL draft.
Hey, listen, they don't sell jerseys and make new fans for getting drafted. They do it for making plays on the field for your team.
We'll let Pete call it.
Listen. I'm not going to say anything.
The great Restrepo Concepcion debate.
I'm already a hater. They say
the great Concepcion debate of 2024.
Yeah. Who would you rather have on your offense this year if you could have one of them?
I mean, Restrepo's not in the.
Who would you rather have on your team right now if you had the opportunity?
We got Tony in the slot, so we got Tony's. That spot's covered. Okay, so that spot's covered.
Non-answer.
We got back-to-back stars. Back-to-back jerseys in the rafters.
That was the question that I was asking last year that I had to apologize for.
Fine. It's fine.
I wasn't wrong. I was just early.
We love our Canes legends.
Yeah. All right, I don't like the tone of this one. I thought, I had this face turn.
Yeah.
I was like The Rock at the Survivor Series Deadly game. We found the next Stone Cold. This is our guy. Boom. Heel turn. Rip the rug out from under you.
Yeah, that's like go after Billy Gunn.
Mm-hmm.
You go after Billy Gunn, really just burying.
Shane McMahon just like low-blowed Mick Foley, but it's Caneville.
Caneville, man, my guy. Shout out to Street. Sergio says, D, have you met a Caroline in Florida yet? I still haven't. Pete thought he had one, and it was.
But that's still, I still, it's the middle name, but I still. That to me it counts, D. I'm sorry. That's what everyone. That's what she went by. So.
What was her real name?
I'm not gonna expose it, but it was not Caroline.
There you go. Rico saying, I wish Horton was still here. Man, we're having some receiver. We're supposed to be uplifting these guys here. I'm excited about Dalen Upshaw. I'm excited about
Horton was still here too. He made a darn good decision.
I love our young receivers. Darn good
decision for himself, man.
Yeah,
you cannot be upset at a kid when they make a decision.
Yeah, that one stinks. That one stinks. He's a part of the best wide receiver room in the country. Well, probably second best. Yeah, any room that JJ gets into. But Tate ain't no slouch. Tate's special.
Yeah, there's talking about Sane for Heisman. I mean, you think Sane, you put him in all these other teams and he's tearing it up like that? I don't see a lot of creation from what he's doing.
Why are they saying Sane for Heisman?
I mean, stats are ridiculous, but he plays with the best players.
I will say he's playing a lot better. That's
what happens. That's what happens when you get like top 5 to 7 classes a year. You get to play with the top players, the top skill position guys. That's what a concept.
I am going to apologize to Gunnar Stockton. A month ago, I said like you're like the 15th best quarterback in the SEC. He's been very
been very good. I might have to take away that take. Although we'll see. He's playing pretty well right now.
He's got a good test in Texas. I'm still holding on to my Texas stock.
I'm the biggest Georgia fan in the world right now, and I'm sure once we start cheering for them, they're going to lay an egg, and Texas is going to beat them. They have no defense. That's the problem.
That Georgia Tech game is going to be tricky
too. Yeah.
Oh, that one we're all going to be Yellow Jackets for that one.
You think?
I don't know that we are.
Oh, because
I don't think so either. D.
Because if they go to the ACC championship and lose,
Georgia Tech's best win so far right now is over a Clemson team that.
And Miami's already ahead of them. So that game would then put them over Miami in that sense.
Mhm.
And then if they lose the ACC championship, they're in.
You know what
over
was
Miami.
interesting? The committee said Georgia Tech won a game they probably should have lost because they got the benefit of a bad call. It was interesting to hear them apply that context. Still waiting to hear what they think about that game in Dallas.
By the way, we got almost 1,400 on, man. The player we shall not name is pure box office. He should be in the next Top Gun with Danny Ramirez.
He really has it.
He's got hit factor all day.
I will say, like, yeah, he's got the last person like this that hadn't really done much on the field that generated this much conversation. I think it was like Tate Martell.
Yeah, cool name. The cool name carries you far.
JoJo's got a really cool name.
Great name. Great name. They'll be saying it on Saturday. After
all right, you want to do some of the pop
touchdowns.
culture stuff?
Yeah, let's go, man.
I'm
you
already
were
sick of
rolling. I feel like the JoJo took the juice out of you.
Yeah. Well, I kind of lowered myself. I said what was been on my mind for 2 months.
Yeah, you should feel good. It's off your chest.
No, but there's a reason why I held it back. It's just because I'm lowering myself to a discourse that I find stupid. And I hate that it gets numbers.
Yeah, let's not lower ourselves. Let's talk about professional wrestling here.
Precisely.
So, wrestler of the week, I like to keep it related to the opponent. So, this one, I looked at some North Carolina wrestlers, but we did Jeff Hardy last week, which was the classic wrestler from North Carolina. I've done Magnum TA in the past. So this one I had to go with some familiar faces to anyone who grew up in the 90s, and that is the Wolfpack, Wolf PAC. Let me pull up the picture here as we look at the Wolfpack. Look at this, guys. You got former Kane, Lex Luger in the picture, Conan, who I believe his son went to Columbus, right, Pete? You wouldn't even know. I think his son went to Columbus. The Stinger, Kevin Nash. With respect to the Wolfpack, it's kind of like you, where there was the face turn without changing your behavior too much. I didn't get too much out of the Wolfpack other than the greeting. The classic right here.
Mm-hmm.
That was the thing with the Wolfpack. I was definitely more veering towards WWE at this time, but I know you're a WCW fan at this point in the Monday Night War. So I want to see where you were at with the Wolfpack. And was this the beginning of the end for the NWO, or was this a good thing that just preceded a fall?
I think this was the beginning of the end because the Wolfpack got so big, got so popular because the cool wrestlers were there that the old guard in WCW couldn't help themselves from ruining it. And then Hulk Hogan joined NWO Wolfpack, and then NWO Wolfpack and NWO Hollywood. It was all just one big swerve, and they combined and got together again when they were kind of setting up a civil war a little bit, because Wolfpack had the cool guys and NWO Black and White had all the older guys, the jobbers that you'd grown tired of. And it was getting so hot that Hogan couldn't help himself at that time. That doesn't work for me, brother. And then he ruined it. I've been watching a lot of WCW lately. They really are AEW. The venues that they're playing, like they're playing like these small towns, pop-up tents. There was a show in Caesars that fit like maybe 2,000 people in it. And you got Hulk Hogan out there. You have like Ric Flair and Sting wrestling in tag matches. These cards are crazy. Yeah. You had Ric Flair wrestling Conan for a U.S. title. It's wild, the decisions that WCW was making. It's all of a sudden like you put in WWE and Roman Reigns is curtain jerking on Monday Night Raw. It's kind of crazy how WCW used their guys. Wolfpack was cool, man. Great theme song.
Great color. Oh, the theme song was
great.
A hit.
Great colorway. By that point, like, all right, this is cool. This is their answer to DX now. They reinvented it. This feels fresh. And then all the old fogies joined and made it less cool. But one of the best entrance songs ever.
Yeah, I'm singing in my head. I wish we could play it without the copyright violation. That was who wrote that one?
C. Murda.
Was it really? Did they outsource that one?
I think C. Murda did it. And
really?
Yeah. It's always C. Murda ended up going to jail.
Yeah, you can't visit him with a white shirt.
Yeah.
It's
always the guys you most expect.
Pinellas Kane says you leave out Sylvester Ritter, aka Junkyard Dog, out of Waysboro NC. I was gonna pick him, but we picked him on a previous show. I actually wore a Junkyard Dog shirt that was adapted for Duncan Robinson. Shout out to my boy at Heat Subculture making that shirt. But yeah,
I thought of two wrestlers that usually maintain their gimmick that the audience comes around on and reminds themselves, oh yeah, we like this guy. Seth Rollins.
Yep.
His character did not change and he became a face.
Yeah,
He was doing that.
Did his color, his fashion change?
Yeah. Well, that's when he was healing it up. And then his heel character stayed the same. And next thing you know, he's the baby face in the Drew McIntyre.
He didn't even change how he dressed.
Didn't. No, he didn't change his approach. Like, he was just the same guy. And this happens to Randy Orton all the time.
Oh, yeah. He never changes.
People get sick, like, oh, yeah, we like you as a heel. And they start cheering for him and he just goes with it. But Randy Orton, his character doesn't really change.
So I'm looking it up. It seems like C Murder did a verse on the Wolfpack theme. I don't know if he made it, though. So we had some more research on the origins of the Wolfpack theme, but definitely there's a version with C Murder.
Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy Hart did it?
Yeah, Jimmy Hart. But they got C Murder for
Jimmy Hart has wait, hold on. Jimmy Hart has that kind of range.
Dude, Jimmy Hart was like, yeah, incredible music producer.
I know
He
that,
did a
but
lot
I
of the
didn't know he
great
could do
ones.
like Southern rap.
He also probably wrote I Hate Rap by the West Texas Rednecks.
That was a good one. He also did, I know he did, Shawn Michaels with the Sexy Boy song.
Yeah.
So, all right, shout out
Pete,
to
hop
Wolfpack.
in.
Pete, you got rest for the week this week?
Heck no.
All right, Mike, what do you got?
Happy Blood and Guts, everybody. It's Blood and Guts on AEW, one of the best made for television cards that AEW has. Orange Cassidy, I don't know if he can ever be a world champion, but in terms of being over for that company, there was like during like the pandemic era of AEW, which should be looked back on as one of the golden eras of wrestling. Orange Cassidy had a great program with Jericho. Jericho helped get him to that next level. Really good in the ring. His gimmick is so unserious and it kind of exposes the business, not kind of, totally exposes the business, which is why you can't strap this guy, which I think lately they've been making some tweaks to his character. He's been in some really violent matches. Moxley in particular and him had a pretty violent program that tried to add some legitimacy to him as an in-ring performer, because his whole thing is that he doesn't care, which is hard to get over with as a professional wrestler, because it's something that you have to care about to get people invested in your matches. But he found a way to connect with his audience. Size is the big thing for Orange Cassidy. If he had the size, you'd be looking at a possibly a multiple world champion.
But the gimmick wouldn't work as well.
No, he doesn't. No, and yeah, he's okay on the mic, but his character means he doesn't have to be challenged on the mic. I have an Orange Cassidy story.
Tell us.
I went to the bubble in AEW when they were filming at Daly's place, and this was before I even knew COVID tests were a thing. But billionaires have access to things that, shock of all shocks, most people don't have access to. So as part of this, being in that audience, you had to subject yourself to a COVID test. And this was, again, before they were available and before people were really talking about testing. I went to the AEW Performers Hotel. There's a banquet hall that me, my buddy David Sinaboli were in, just waiting to get our swab or whatever. And we're waiting in line with all the performers. And everybody's just keeping it real. It's all kayfabe. Like they're
Wait, were they keeping it real or were they keeping it kayfabe?
No, they were keeping it real. They dropped kayfabe.
Gotcha.
Everybody except for one person. I was waiting in line behind me was the performer known as Orange Cassidy. And you're working with like people that are administering tests, right? They asked for his name. He goes, Orange Cassidy. Everyone's giving their legal name. He is wearing his glasses. He's in his
Nice.
Canadian tuxedo. And they ask him name, Orange Cassidy. And they're like, what's your real name? And he just mumbled something. And then he just strolled out, gave a thumbs up, was living the gimmick in that one moment.
I love it.
Orange Cassidy's the man. I'm going to be watching Blood and Guts, and there's a women's Blood and Guts match.
Who's his opponent in the Blood and Guts?
He's he's going up against the Death Riders. He's on Team Darby.
A lot of stables. A little too many stables for me.
You know, that was AEW is WCW.
Yeah.
That's what they do. But John Moxley's in a death match, so expect something crazy violent.
This is on TNT, and they're going to let him bleed. I mean, they've been doing it, I guess.
TBS.
Oh, yeah, TBS. That's
TBS.
right. Another WCW.
Mm-hmm.
So they should start the show at 05. What? Did they ever explain why they did that?
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about?
Been, yeah.
6:05, I want to say, on Saturdays.
Was
I
that
remember watching it.
probably Braves baseball sometimes?
Ah, good call. Good
I
call.
just pulled that out of my butt.
There
I
you
don't
go.
know. What's
Pete,
your song of the week?
I'm going with a song. So my son, Jack, I always talk about E-Money, the baseball player. Jack, he plays a lot of sports, but he's much more into rapping and talking. And he is learning about rap. You got to keep the curse words out. But what he loved was Ghostface, Nutmeg, and specifically the line Scooby Snack Jurassic Plastic Gas Booby Trap. So this album right here, Supreme Clientele, one of the best albums of all time. Pete, why don't you pull up some, see if you can find it. All right, I'll find it here.
I got it.
You got
Coincidentally, that's my Wi-Fi password.
Supreme Clientele?
No, the bar that you just rattled off.
Scooby
at the
Snack
yeah, at the bottom
Plastic
of,
Gas Booby Trap.
Yeah,
So
at the bottom of the router.
The story behind that whole album was Ghostface Killah of the Wu-Tang Clan went to Africa. I don't know exactly what country he went to, but he went to a country in Africa, and it wasn't like in the city. He was out there, and he said that he heard music and language that was obviously not English, but he could kind of feel the vibe of the sounds. So when he came back to America, he said, why don't I make an album rapping wise? There you go. Make an album rapping wise. I guess it's a play on the Supreme Clientele with the Supreme. I might buy that shirt. It probably costs $6,000. So he's like, why don't I just rap the sounds as opposed to like actually making a lyrically cohesive story? So he's like, all right, well, let's just do it like that. And that's where that sound came. The Scooby Snack Jurassic Plastic Gas Booby Trap had a line there. Come meet the black boy George, dusted on my honeymoon. Talking about doing PCP on his honeymoon. And the lines would just kind of sit there alone, but it was all about the flow and the sound of it. Classic album, huge hit, actually influenced very much Kanye West and his production style with the soul samples. The song Nutmeg, which is the song of the week that I chose.
Big old yawn from Peter there.
Is
Didn't mean to.
If you listen to Nutmeg, which again on the CanesInSight podcast or on the CanesInSight playlist, go check out the CanesInSight playlist on Spotify, on Apple Music. You can check it out, download the songs that we pick, and we've been playing on these shows.
I gotta add that one. I've been bad about that.
You gotta add.
Yeah.
Your adding is slipping, but we're gonna get it right here before you leave. But anyways, if you listen to that Nutmeg song, which came out 2001, I want to say Kanye style immediately thereafter is pretty much that with the sped up soul samples. So very similar in many respects to Bob Dylan. When Bob Dylan went electric and he started basically saying whatever he wanted to say just for the sound of it and these isolated bars.
You a Dylan guy?
I mean, not crazy Dylan guy, but he had some cool lines in that era when he went electric. That's when he was just
No, that's what the entire movie is about.
Exact same thing.
Yeah, I like that part where he was like me.
That was Ghost. That was Ghostface with Supreme Clientele.
My song of the week is the White Stripes' Hardest Button to Button. Iggy Pop just fresh off of inducting the White Stripes. Shock of all shocks.
Miami resident.
Meg was not there for this induction.
Well, she got better going on.
Meg, we're just never going to see Meg. We're never going to see Meg, but she did, according to Jack, help them.
Meg Barnes, another great member of the
Shout out Meg Barnes.
Shout out Meg Barnes.
There's still some good people in there, man.
Yeah, Meg White with her social stuff that she's got going on, the mental health stuff, the anxiety stuff. We're just never going to see her again. But it was pretty jarring to see Jack wear red again. This is the first time he's worn red since they broke up. He doesn't do that anymore. He approaches things a lot like wrestling or a Batman villain, depending on who you ask, because his henchmen also kind of dress like him too.
Yeah.
So, but this song is off of what I still think is my favorite album of all time, Elephant.
Yeah.
It happened at a great time and an exciting time when rock was down bad, trying to find its footing, and new metal happened, and just garage rock wasn't a thing. It had died after Kurt Cobain did, really, and the White Stripes brought it back. And I really enjoyed the career retrospective that the Hall of Fame did. It's kind of weird that I'm at the age where bands that were my favorite bands growing up are now getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. It was a weird one for that because Outkast also got inducted. You're talking about two of the greatest duos in the history of music. White Stripes, probably the greatest two-piece band.
Yeah, it was a competition. The Black Keys, which was just a ripoff.
Black Keys. 21 Pilots actually did the tribute to White Stripes. And believe it or not, I'm a 21 Pilots guy. I saw 21 Pilots open up a music festival in Gulf Shores, Alabama, and they played to 150 people. Blew me away. A few months later, they were playing out to 90,000 people at Lollapalooza.
Only two of those guys, not 21?
Two-piece, yeah. And it's not 21 Pilots. It's just two of them. But they did a Seven Nation Army cover and made it their own. It also kind of proves that song is really difficult to play for a two-piece.
Yeah, I mean, I think these songs, a lot of them were like overdubbed, to extremes because like they have a lot of bass, and it wasn't the bass; it was just his guitar tuned low. But like, this is a hard album to visualize without overdubs. Like the first one, they could just plugged in the recorder. This one, like they actually produced it.
White Stripes love adversity. If you watch Under the Great White Northern Lights, Jack explains like sometimes I like to put the piano a little further away, so I have to reach for it because I don't want anything to ever come easy. Because watching the White Stripes live or videos of them performing live, this seems really hard. That's a lot of sound that comes out of just a two-piece. Everybody thought it was a bass guitar on Seven Nation Army. If you watch, I've had the privilege of watching Jack White on stage. What he does is very difficult, and it's hard to play with him too. He's quite literally figuring it out as he goes. It's chaotic.
Having a bass player messes it up because you got to have multiple people on the same page. Whereas with a drum and just the guitar, you can change quicker.
Where were you on Meg? I know she was very divisive.
Love her. I think that was. I don't listen to what. I mean, the White Stripes are. I'm with you on the White Stripes. This is my favorite album, rock wise, of this era. I've seen the White Stripes actually twice. Probably one of the few rare times where my live music experiences overturn yours. I seen them twice. One of them was the best show I ever seen. Death Letter live. Literally, I thought I was in space. Maybe that had to do with some of the things that were going on in that concert. But like this guy had like a acoustic slide guitar that was like 40 years old, and the way he played it so forcefully, it just sounded futuristic, even though it was really an old instrument. Anyways, the drums usually set the tone, and then the instruments follow. She follows him, so it's you can't do that setup another way. And I think when you put him with like more traditional drummers, you lose the chaotic energy where he's completely leading. He's completely free to go insane because you have to kind of stay within the drums. The bass player's got to know where you're at. The other guitarist got to know where you're at. You can't just be all over the place. Whereas when it's just him and then her following and hitting cymbals and making noise, it's a lot easier for him to be himself.
And when they're rocking out, in terms of noise, they are really, really loud and powerful for a two-piece band. And that's because her drumming style, which is very controversial, you could argue she is the strongest, most powerful drummer in the history of rock music. She plays with such ferocity. Anyways, one of my favorite bands.
She's on the tom-toms a lot, the cymbals. I mean, she's like a little kid.
Yeah, she plays, and it kind of lends itself to the aesthetic and the overall culture that they try to build out there. But White Stripes, my favorite album of all time. Jack White, probably my favorite musician of all time. And that's a great track. Hardest Button to Button. Great music video too that The Simpsons parodied.
What do White Stripes Elephant, Kanye West College Dropout,
Burt Bacharach,
Jay-Z Reasonable Doubt,
Burt Bacharach,
Biggie Ready to Die all have in common, and the Beatles Please Please Me? Burt Bacharach has songwriting credits on all of those albums. The GOAT. Okay, that was a good song. Girl, You Have No Faith in Medicine. Never heard that one in a while. Matthew Owen, he bangs his sister. There's a Toronto Terrier. Shout out to the Toronto Terrier. Looking young and dapper, full head of hair.
Wow.
What? What? You still got hair?
He can keep going on that one.
He's still got hair.
I thought that was
I
thought that was a Peter Ruiz shot.
There was no shot. I say the guy looked great. Jeez Louise. All right. We're going to like and subscribe to the show.
We didn't do picks this week.
Oh, let's get our picks.
I mean, we didn't get a graphic. I can just open up my app right now.
After the comment earlier in the show, I think we should probably stay away from picks this week.
Yeah.
Louisville, -2.5. Louisville, -2.5. They got a lot to play for. Clemson, they got
a lot to play for too. Our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Louisville, -2.5. Like them there. I think they're going to stop the run. Clemson doesn't really run the ball very well.
You and I are head-to-head on this one. I'm on Clemson.
Ooh.
We should all be rooting for Clemson.
I'm rooting for him, but you think that the Isaac Brown miss is gonna hurt them?
I like that win. We're fighting for the Lord. We're fighting for Coach.
Listen, you got the hotter hand lately. So
Clemson, I'm hoping it's a lot like last year. People buried them, and then towards the latter part of the season, they start putting together their best football.
Oh, they're buried right now. It's like when the Undertaker put his hand out of the burial.
Are you and I both betting Duke this week?
Yeah, I think we are. Duke's burned me a million times this year. I just think Virginia.
Is Chandler Morris out?
They haven't said yet, but concussion, he looked pretty nasty. He was down for a while. I don't see him coming back from that one. Their backup stinks. I just think Duke right there coming off a terrible loss to UConn is able to get that one done. They're still alive in the ACC.
Who are they playing?
Virginia.
No, Virginia smokes them.
But the quarterback's hurt.
Quarterback
doesn't matter.
Chandler Morris mattered.
Doesn't matter.
Chandler Morris matters.
Doesn't matter. You know what matters is the man on the sideline for the Blue Devils.
OP, you can take a shot at me when on the post-game podcast when Duke loses.
Every time you pick them, I tell you, I don't know why you do it.
And I've lost every single time.
You've lost every single time.
It was all right.
This one is the last one. The one I feel best about. TCU plus 4.5. I'm not a BYU believer. I like TCU.
I locked in BYU when it was 5.5 at the beginning of the week. There's a couple of games that I'll highlight here. You're not going to be able to get the Ole Miss line at what it opened at. I like that in at 14.5. I think Ole Miss cruises. I'm really scared of this Oklahoma-Alabama game. I'm scared because we're at the point in the season where we need Alabama, who I think is a little fraudy, to keep winning these games. Because if Oklahoma gets that win, it's going to be hard to keep Oklahoma out.
They'll get spooky, yeah.
Yeah, so, but I'm on Oklahoma. Remember, that game wasn't very close last year. I know Alabama is much different offensively. Milroe was limited, and that was exposed in that game against Coach Venables' defense. But this line has me a little spooked. I'm betting Oklahoma on that one. But my official pick here will be Texas Longhorns.
It's your squad.
Diamond hands. I don't think Georgia is, again, I don't think anybody in the SEC is all that good. And Georgia has survived games that they probably should have lost. Tennessee comes to mind. So has Alabama. I think Texas absolutely needs this one. And now I think it's time for Texas's best performance of the season.
That's your squad. We'll see, man. Hopefully, Texas and Oklahoma both go down in flames, and we get a little clearer picture here for the Miami Hurricanes. But all that really matters, 1-0. Remember to like and subscribe to the show.
I'm also on NC State.
Oh, why'd you have to end on that note?
Also on NC State.
As you should be.
And I guarantee you that point total is going to come down by 2.5 points 20 minutes before
Joey
kickoff.
Maganelli.
Like and subscribe.
Jerry Mags.
Go Canes.